but I think I can do this. Let me try to share my screen here. Also, before I start sharing my screen, I just want to say that if something comes up for you and if you would like to unmute yourself and, I can kind of get on a roll on things, feel free to unmute yourself and to, say, oh, hey, that makes me think of something. If you want to share, most of the time, I love doing presentations in person so that we can have conversations and so that we can interact with each other. And so I'd like for us to be able to do that as much as possible via Zoom too. So please don't hesitate if you want to talk and we can collaborate together. I will be a couple of times I'll be engaging y'all in some questions and whatnot, and I'd like for you to be thinking about those. And if you feel like sharing your feedback and your thoughts about the questions that I pose, that would be wonderful as well. All right, so here we go. Let's see. All right, and let me make this a little bigger so that I can see all of you better. All right, great. Okay, hopefully you are seeing this first slide, this fatherhood engagement slide. If you're not, somebody please let me know. Uh, so, fatherhood engagement is the things that we're going to be talking about today. And first, though, I would like to just kind of share a little bit with you about myself. Like I said, I stole my daughter's room down here so that I could present with you all. This is my family, right? So you've got in the upper left-hand corner, we love to do some camping, like, a lot of Montana families. My daughters, Bella and Evie, they are in the right-hand corner up there. They're both musicians, and my daughter's going to school at the University of Montana for dance therapy. My oldest daughter lives over across the pond in the UK and is a producing music as well as she just ran a 2 week sold out performance of a musical that she was working on that actually it's pretty wild. She's an advocate herself, and so it's all about women and women's rights and stuff like that. So it's really awesome. And left hand corner is them when they were little. Our family is kind of a theater family, so you see us in the middle there performing as if we were in. This was during COVID, as we're trying to entertain ourselves and be characters from Harry Potter. We did a whole Harry Potter day, and the far right hand bottom corner is just my girls being, goofballs and cooking in the kitchen. So this is my family. I am, like Karen said, I'm a LCPC, so I've got a private practice here in Missoula where I see clients. I'm also a licensed school counselor, and I'm a dad, and I work for or I have worked for Families First in the past, and I still do a lot of consultation for them, provide services for them. And Families First offers a lot of different things. They provide parenting education. They provide development for kids through play, and often a lot of times that the ways that they engage parents is by inviting parents to come and be part of that play with their kids, and then helping parents to understand how that play helps children reach developmental milestones along the way. So there's a lot of like working with parents through play with their kids through different programs like our cooking classes or eat and read and different kind of programs like that. Two of the programs that we offer for parenting education is parenting consultations and dads in dialogue. Unfortunately, like I bet a lot of you, we were really affected by we lost some government funding. And so that ended up unfortunately shutting down a lot of our parenting education that we do when go and do parenting education in the schools and things like that. But two of the programs that survived those cuts were our parenting consultations and dads and dialogues. And I want to share with you about those two programs today because they're our approach to engaging fathers and parents in general, but specifically fathers, is it really is resonant throughout those two programs. So that's what I'm going to be focusing on today is those two programs. Um, when we are doing our parent consultations, our dads and dialogues, when we're working with parents, one of the things that we are one of the ways that we are working with them is that we are really taking an approach that is based in positive psychology principles. And so, positive psychology is an idea that we are looking at people's strengths, what they do well, how they are successful, and we're trying to grow those strengths in them to help them to identify what is really good about them, right? And so our brains are really good at looking at what's wrong with us, right? So some kind of the three psychology principles is that we focus on kind of the negative, and what we focus on grows. And so when we focus on the negative, we tend to start seeing the negative things more and more and more often. And that's, I mean, that's our brains. They do that as a source of trying to protect us, right? It's a protection factor. And we've gotten so good at finding the bad and the negative and what's wrong with us that we've gotten not so good at focusing on what's good with us, right? And so our job is to shift that focus and to really uncover what are the good things, what's going well in our life, what are we really good at. So that's kind of the approach that we take when we're working with parents and families. And so for just a moment, I would like for you to think about what is one thing that you think that you are good at, whether you're taking this from the perspective of a parent, like as in your own life, or if you're a provider. And so I want to shift the focus from the deficits because I can sit here and rattle off all the things that I mess up on, right? But what I'd like for you to do is to think about what are the things that you're really good at. So just take a moment and let's think about even just one thing. What's one thing that you're really good at? And if anybody's feeling brave, I'd love to hear what is your one thing? What's one thing that you're good at as a parent or as a provider?
I'm organized.
Awesome, Rachel. Thank you. Organize. And here I go looking at my deficits. That is one thing I am not. So, way to go, Rachel. We need you on our team. All right. Anybody else want to share theirs?
I feel that I'm good at communication and finding ways to connect with the families that I work with, finding common ground.
Sasha, that's wonderful. Thank you. Communication and then finding common ground, building those relationships is what I'm hearing, right? Yeah. Nice. Nice. Anybody else want to share before I move to what mine is? Okay, yeah. I see Stephanie has put something in there, but I can't seem to get my cursor back to it. Let's see.
Yeah, there's several in chat. Should I just read these?
Yeah, that'd be great, Karen. Thank you.
Yeah, Carrie said building a foundational relationship with a child.
Awesome.
Stephanie said mine is simple. I love reading for myself, to my daycare children, etc. And Linda said building relationships with parents.
Yes. Oh, that's so great. It's so great as we focus on these positives. I think mine is that connection, right, with our kids. My daughter recently said that she was asked in class, like, what would we miss if we couldn't see anymore? And and she said, "Oh, I'd miss that connection that I have with my sister, the glances that we take, that like sister telepathy that we have." She said, for my mom, I'd miss the winks that she gives me every now and then. And she said, and for you, I would miss the that look, that like loving look that you give when you see us as a family doing something, and that like cheesy like puppy dog look. I don't know. But so for me, I think it's that support and love that I share with my family. And so as we focus on these strengths, right? What I hope is happening for you as you are able to recognize these is it builds up a feeling of well-being, of goodness, of like, yeah, I am good at doing something. And so this is the approach that we take when we're working with parents and fathers in particular, because there's so much that when parents come into our office, as I'm sure they do with many of you, they're coming in pretty scared, pretty beat down, and feeling like they can't do a lot right, right? So we recognize and we build on father's strengths, and some of the ways that we do that, if and I've put this in the resource list at my last slide, and I'll make sure to share it with Karen too, so that you all have it. But when in positive psychology, we also think about there's 24 values in action character strengths that we can build on. And so for providers, the VIA survey of character strengths is a resource that you can use not only for yourself, right, to understand your own character strengths, but it's something that you can use with parents as well. And you can share with them, and it can help you to recognize those character strengths in parents, because sometimes it can be hard for us, at least, and I'm going to speak from my own personal experience. Depending on the type of day I'm having, I can sometimes have a hard time sussing out what is the strength of this dad that I'm working with, especially if he's coming in hot, right? And he's, so for me, it's important to really kind of understand what are these character strengths, right? And so for parents, we'll work with them. We'll say, name a time that your child was struggling and what strengths did they unknowingly use to get through it, right? So this is an activity that we can do with parents sometimes. So we talk to parents about catching your kids being good, noticing the positive behaviors, and being specific and authentic and descriptive of the strengths that your child uses, right? So here's like an example that I've written here is that was really strong of you to keep trying until you tied your shoe. You're the type of person that tries really hard, right? So this is the type of these are the types of coaching that we will give parents, and especially like when I'm working with dads, the type of coaching that we'll be giving them to try to help build up the character strengths in their children. And I think it's kind of like a tiered system, right? Where as the providers, we are modeling the behavior by showing that to the parents, and then the parents then model that behavior and do it for the children, right? So it's just this kind of like filtered down system. um, so I'm about to share with you a little video that I put together of different fathers and in media. And I want to say that we're all adults here, and this presentation is rated PG. So I hope you're okay with there's a couple of interesting things in there that may take you back a little bit. And at the same time, I forgot to mention this presentation is rated PG for parental guidance, but also for parental guilt. Right? Like, I believe that the parents that we work with are oftentimes coming in with a lot of guilt and shame in how they are operating in their daily lives. So again, us trying to shift the focus from that negative deficit base to a positive base. So see what you notice in this video, and we'll talk about it just like. Yeah, start talking. Oh, and actually, wait. I bet I need to, Karen, were you able to hear that, or do I need to stop sharing and do the whole share audio?
Maybe try, yeah, maybe share audio.
Let's share this again. Um, Let me know if that doesn't work.
I want to tell you that I want to tell you that your mother has something to tell you. I am late. I got it. Goodbye, everybody.
Play it with me, Dad.
Okay.
Always remember the Bundy credo. Lie when your wife is waking. Lie when your belly's aching. Lie when you know she's faking. Lie, sell shoes, and lie.
I'm not upset with you. This is something that everybody does.
Do you do it?
Like I said, Deej, everybody does it.
How much do you do it?
Look, Deej, the funny thing about this is, and even though it's okay and everybody does it, there's nothing wrong with it. Nobody ever talks about it.
Lisa, no. Your hands are too weak.
If the U.S. government decides to stick a tracking device up your ass, you say thank you. And God bless America.
Hey, you're a smart fella, Dad.
And you're a fat smeller, Meg. Let's go home. It's undermined. And it's the kind of stuff I'm teaching my kids not to do. So I don't want to hear it again. End of subject.
Oh, by the way, Henry, you had a phone call from some girl, Donna.
What does she want?
Well, she thinks she may have lost her self-esteem when she was with you and wondered if you found it.
The senator said that you were feeling neglected, that you were not getting enough personal attention. You want attention? You want to get noticed? Then you stop acting like a whiny brat and you start acting like a real Marine, because that is the only way you are going to get noticed around here. Do you read me?
Yes,
sir!
When dads spend time with their kids, it's not called babysitting. It's called parenting. Diapers are in the closet.
Carl?
Liam.
So as you watch that video, right? How many times did you see in that video, which was, snips from very popular TV shows throughout our time? How many times did you see parents in there or fathers in there being represented as understanding, as loving, as the person that children can come to, right? Like I don't think any, right? There weren't any of that representation in there. And so representation in the media for fathers and the role models for dads growing up, this is the kind of stuff that they're seeing all the time, which is unfortunately not a great representation, right? And so, I mean, even as I'm watching those videos, for me, I'm embarrassed about the fact that that is the representation that fathers receive, right? That's how we're being portrayed. And so, common misconceptions of fatherhood, right? That dad is the babysitter or the secondary parent, or that men don't really want children as much as women do, or dads aren't as nurturing or empathetic as moms. These are all the different misconceptions that we have as parents, or as that fathers get, the rap that they get. And the thing is that fathers internalize this, right? They internalize this, and so they start to believe these things also, right? That dad has got to be the primary disciplinarian or the fun parent, the good cop, bad cop. Fathers don't have the same emotional highs and lows. They start to feel like they have to behave and act in certain ways, right? Fathers are less competent or clumsy with babies, right? These are all different ways that fathers can feel. I know I've felt them myself at times and wondered if this is the way that I'm supposed to behave as a dad. Dad's main role is to support the family financially. I mean, this financial burden or stress that fathers can feel, which can bleed into their own reactions and behaviors in the family, and that real men don't show emotions, right? That toxic masculinity that we have to address. And the dad have all the answers or are indestructible, right? This feeling that dads have to know everything and, have to have all the answers. And so these are the misconceptions that I think that we're often dealing with, and it can be really damaging, not just for the father, but for the family as a whole. So things for us to kind of be keeping in mind that fathers are experiencing and believing as they walk into our offices. Fathers, and of course, mothers here, but this presentation is mostly based on fathers, so I'm speaking directly about that, are often facing many challenging situations, so many different challenging situations, right? Sleep problems and social concerns, stealing, toileting, whining, and whining, all kinds of different stuff. So this is just an exhaustive list of all the different things that fathers are facing when they are coming into our office. So it's no wonder that they are feeling insecure and they're feeling defensive, right? And so for us as providers, we're oftentimes trying to get underneath that defensiveness, that insecurity. So our parent consultations, they were born out of we would go in and we would do family engagement nights, or we would do parenting education to a big group, and then we'd have individuals coming up to us afterwards and asking us specific questions about their situations. And so we started creating these parent consultations to help parents address those specific issues that they are having in their families. So that's how we started to offer this personalized solution focused assistance to deal with their unique challenges. And we really try to eliminate financial barriers. We have it on a sliding scale so that we can help parents in whatever their financial situation is. These parent consultations are used to really try to empower parents and to help them feel understood and to help them have a sense of self-efficacy, that feeling that they're able to do well, right? And to help them feel like, oh, I've done this one thing well. Maybe if I do this well, then I'm actually able to do this well, and so on and so forth, right? So to grow that sense of self-efficacy, and to connect families with resources to help them feel not alone. And that actually reminds me, I want to also just do a quick gratitude shout out to all of you as providers. And the reason I want to do that is because I know when my wife and I first started out, we were a struggling, we were in our early 20s, having kids and having our first daughter, and we did not know what we were doing, right? And I, as a father, was leaning on my wife to teach me how to be a good dad, and at the same time, we did not have the resources that we needed in order to really be the thriving parents that we wanted to be.
Okay.
Oh,
The
and
ones that are on my desk, they're not, right? I have to do.
let's see. I wonder if Denise.
They don't have the cover sheets on them. They have, nothing's been done to them. They haven't been.
There we go. Thanks, Karen. So yeah, some of the things that we want to be the reason I'm expressing this gratitude to you all as providers is because we found support and help in things like WIC, in Montana Kids, and all kinds of these different programs that were able to support us and help us when we did not have the financial means to get that support that we needed. So first off, thank you all so much for the work that you do. It's really important. It really helps families. At least it certainly did ours, and actually helped to move me into the direction of wanting to work with families. Some of our guiding beliefs, the things that we think about and talk about, is that we believe that being, a dad is very difficult, right? That dads deserve our respect and support. These are the ways, the mantras that we have when we're working with parents and fathers, and especially when fathers, like I said, are maybe coming in scared, defensive, and hot, right? So dads deserve our respect and support. It's natural for dads to instinctively do the wrong thing and feel bad about it. The media, as you've seen, and relatives can be pretty tough on dads, right? So dads are a unique population that deserves specifically designed interventions. And dads are so afraid of being judged by us, right? By us as providers. So it's important that we help them to feel supported and not judged. One of the ways that I will do that in my parenting consultations is I like to tell the story to parents about my wife and I when we were first starting out with our youngest daughter, and she was probably about 3 or 4 years old. And I remember my wife and I were in the living room, and our daughter was playing in her bedroom, and we could hear her playing with her dollies. And it was bedtime for her dollies, apparently. And we could hear her saying to her dollies, she was reading to them, and it was so cute. She's reading to her dollies, and you can hear her going, blah, 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 because she can't read, but she's memorized some parts of the book, right? And so she's reading to her dollies. And it's just the cutest thing. My wife and I are like, oh my God, look. And she says, okay, day down. She's trying to put him to bed. And my wife and I are just so proud. We're like, oh, our daughter's so sweet. We've done such a nice job. And she's day down. And then we hear her say, day down. She gets a little firmer. And then she says, day down. And my wife and I are, okay. So that's the kind of thing that we're modeling. We need to kind of readjust, right? And so trying to help parents understand that you are not being judged. We have all been in situations where we've responded, reacted in ways that we wish we hadn't, right? Um, so so working towards helping fathers feel not alone, not judged, and that we're here to support them, right? So we try to get curious and not furious when we're working with parents. And that's not just, for us as providers working with parents, but also for parents working with their own children, right? The mantra of get curious and not furious. So why do we need to be aware? We carry around our own implicit theories and judgments, and we need to make sure that we are bringing them into our awareness, right? Our implicit theories are often insensitive and unempathetic and judgmental, at least and I'm speaking from my own stuff, right? So maybe you're doing a lot better job than I am, but I know that that's what's been the case for me at times. And so I have to really keep that in check, right? And I notice how my mood in the present moment is affecting the way that I'm showing up as a provider with parents. Um, and it's important for us to really kind of keep in mind, what are our own triggers? Like what are some of the things that we're thinking about? So I'm curious, I'd love to know from all of you or from any of you, think about for just a moment, and I'm going to shut my door because it's getting cold out. So think about for just a moment, what are some of your triggers that maybe make it so it's difficult to respond to parents in an empathetic and a caring way? So think about that for just a second. For me, one trigger can be when I'm working with a father and you know, and he can feel kind of volatile to he can come in posturing, feeling abrasive. That can be something for me that can be kind of triggering, right? Does anybody want to share something that is triggering for them? And it could even be from a parent perspective when you're working with your kids or being with your kids.
I think for me, for when I'm meeting with a parent, when they don't seem uh, interested or involved, and they seem like they're just kind of there to get the meeting over with, that is a little triggering for me. And so I will I'll try to talk about their child more because usually parents will come out of their shell a little bit if they're talking about their children. But when it seems like they're inconvenienced by having to meet me, it's triggering for me personally.
Yes, so true, Sasha. Thanks for bringing that up. That's absolutely, that can be triggering for me as well, right? It's like, don't you care? Totally. Yeah. Anybody else?
There's a couple great ones in chat.
Oh, do you mind sharing them, Karen?
Yeah, trying to help when they look like they do not want my help, but have asked for help. And another one, being belittled.
Oh, yeah. Right. Totally. Yeah. So if we can know what our triggers are, right, and we can plan for them to be, tapped or hit, then we can do a better job of allowing those to run through us and to still be able to be present with the parents, right? But it can be really challenging to do that. That's why it's a really good thing if we can be aware of those. So I appreciate you all sharing those. Um, and thinking about that, I had a family come in at one point where it was a mom and her three kids of differing age levels, and we were offering supplies to for free to the family. It was like school supplies and things like that. And so the mom came in and she was just like kind of really getting on her kids the whole time, and she was not like kind of like what Sasha was saying, where she just didn't seem to want to be there, even though we're offering these free services and all this. It was just really like I was super triggered by it. The kids were just not the most polite, and I was just getting triggered left and right by all these things that were happening. And they left, and I told my coworker, I was like, oh my, I started complaining about this family that just come in, and my coworker said, yeah, yeah, and she was in a much better place than I was at the moment. And because I hadn't eaten, I hadn't slept very well. I was annoyed at this family, and she said, she was like, I actually love it though that mom came in and got these supplies for her kids with her kids. She was like, I know that family, we've worked with them in the past, and even though they're kind of off-putting, she said, I know that family has to come all the way across town. They don't have transportation, right? So they had to catch the buses, they had to do all this stuff to get here. They're really low income and all. So anyway, as she's telling me this stuff, of course I'm berating myself like, ugh, you're a terrible person, Dylan. But it kind of helped me to remember and reframe that they are going through a lot of stuff too, right? So really good to try to know what our triggers are so that we can not let those be activated, and so that we can be with those parents as they are going through their own stuff. So ways of being with fathers as we are working with them is to really lean into some empathetic understanding, some understanding of what they're dealing with, what they're going through. Like my coworker, when she was able to help me see what that family was dealing with. So some empathetic understanding, radical acceptance for what the parents are dealing with. I think about, the dads that I work with that, when we talk about like corporal punishment or spanking, and oftentimes the response of dads who are spanking their kids is, well, I was spanked when I was a kid and I turned out fine. Right. And so leaning in with radical acceptance is the idea of, yes, right, like that, it's really hard. You're wanting to really shift, or you're wanting to teach your child to be responsible, to teach them to own up to the things that they've done wrong. You're trying to create a good human being and a good person. You're working really hard at doing that. And my guess is that you don't like spanking your kid. Right? You don't like hitting your kid. Well, no, I don't like hitting my kid. But they don't listen to me, right? And so then we can like when I have worked with them to get them to understand that like that is not what they want to be doing. They don't want to be hitting their kid. Then we can move to other possible ways of correcting behaviors, right? But we can't get there unless I can have radical acceptance for what that parent is trying to do and what they're going through, right? And then collaborating with the father to try to think of better behavioral solutions, right? And then offering positive feedback and validation. That self-efficacy, wanting to help the parents or the father understand like what he's doing well and growing on that. he needs to be inundated with positive feedback and validation for the hard work that he's doing and that he's trying really hard to be a good parent. So it's about connection and relationship building, right? It's about connection, relationship building, meeting them, normalizing their situation, comforting them, right? Discussing confidentiality if that applies for your situation, and using a collaborative role induction. So, in other words, helping the parent to know what my job is as their provider. Like, this is what I'm going to be doing for you, right? This is what I can offer, and this is what I can't offer. My job is going to be to help you moving forward with this. And honoring the father as the expert, because truly they are the expert in their family, right? They, in terms of, they know what is happening in their household. I'm not there to see what's going on, so I can only rely on their reports of what's happening in the family. So honoring them kind of as the expert. It's funny though, I'll often say that. I'll say, like, you're the expert in your family, and they'll be like, well, what am I doing here? And so helping them to understand that you are the one in the family that really knows, like, that knows your family situation. Explain it to me. Help me to understand better what's happening so that I can have a better understanding and work with you on it. And then listening for positive motives, right? Like that parent who I was, describing earlier that, is spanking his kid. Like, what is the reason that this is all happening? Oh, the positive motive is that you want your child to be a respectful, contributing human and part of society, right? That's what you're trying to do. So helping them to see those positive motives, helping me to see the positive motives in the parent, and providing compliments and reassurance when you can, right? These are all the different ways that we build these relationships with dads so that they feel safe to keep coming in the door. So they feel like they can keep working with us, that they're coming into a place that is not a place of judgment and a place of, um, you know, damnation, right? So providing positive feedback and validation is so important. We want to watch for opportunities to give positive feedback and validation. Things that I often say to parents or to fathers is, you really know your child well. Right? You really know them well, or you've been working on this for a long time and you've tried lots of different strategies, or your child is so lucky to have you as a parent. And looking underneath that anger that the parent is coming in with, right? Looking under it and trying to find again those positive motives that they have, and then collaborating with them, right? And we want to collaborate as an attitude. We want to have that as an attitude of us, like, how can I collaborate with this parent to help them to do better, right? And not knowing and understanding too quickly. I'm sure all of you have been in that situation where the parent starts explaining their situation, what they're doing, and right away you have ideas, and because you've seen this so many times with other parents, right? So we have to be careful not to try to understand too quickly. We need to make sure we get all the information there, right? And then we want to ask for permission to be able to implement some of these ideas. Do you mind if I share with you some thoughts that I'm having about this, or do you mind if I share with you some ideas I'm having? We want to get their permission, and that gets them on board with what we're doing, right? We want to let the parents know that we really want to work with them, and that we respect their knowledge, right? And we want to validate that knowledge that they have. And it's so hard because we have all of these great ideas because we work so often with so many parents that we have this knowledge about this work. And so we want to, like, we have to be careful to hold back on some of that, because if we go in too fast with it, they're going to pull away, right? They're going to pull away. So that's that expert dance too. We want to, honor them as the expert, and we are also the experts. And so we want to be able to go back and forth with that, right? Um, so I want to talk a little bit about our dad's program that we run. It's called Dads and Dialogue. So that was, that's the being with parents. That's the setup. That's how we get buy-in from the parents that we work with and from the fathers that we work with, especially because for dads, they come in oftentimes with a sense of bravado, a sense of feeling like they have to be a certain type of person. They have to be the one that knows everything. They have to be the financial provider. They aren't allowed to show emotion. All of these different things, right? And so trying to crack open that shell and help them to feel like they are doing a great job. We recognize they're doing a great job. And at the same time, we want to support them and work with them so that they can continue doing a great job and be even better at the stuff that they're doing. And that allows them to open up and to feel safe and supported, not judged, and feel like they can learn from you, right? That they can learn from you. So once so that is our way of being with fathers. Another program that we run is our Dads and Dialogues program. And the reason that we run this group is because we found that there was a real need in the community for dads to come together and to connect and to hear from the experience of other fathers. So I'm going to share with you this program. And then I also want you to know if you are interested in creating a dad's group in your community, I would love to talk to you more about it and to share with you some of the things that have worked for us and what didn't work for us. But if you want to create a dad's program in your community, this dad's program has been a huge hit. It's full just about every time we run it. We have space for 10 fathers. It's a 6-week program in the evenings, usually on Wednesday nights from about 5 to 7 or 5:30 to 7. And dads have just loved it so much so that they continue to do things outside the group where they have built these connections. They start to have friendships, and it's such a nice like program to offer because I can even tell you in my individual work with dads that oftentimes the thing that I hear from them is loneliness, a feeling of isolation, and not being connected, right? And so creating a group like this helps dads find that community that they need. Right. So, and we also going to be providing psychoeducation in the group. Yeah, that's a great question. How do we feel about moms or women running the group? At first we were really hesitant about that, but we have since actually had women run the group. And oftentimes when we have a woman running the group, we try to do the co-facilitation, like one male, one female, running the group. And it has always worked great. We've never had a woman by herself running the group, but I actually think it would be fine to do that because the feedback that we get from the dads is that you have your facilitator running the group, and even as a woman running the group, they're in this role of facilitator. And still the group purpose, like the dads learning from each other and growing from each other and getting the facilitator's expert knowledge as input seems to work just fine. Just fine. So thanks for asking that. Yes, it has worked. It has worked. Um, so how do we engage fathers, right? And so there's a couple of different ways that we do this when we're starting up our group. It's as simple as having name tags, making it easy for the facilitators as well as for the dads to be on a first name basis. I like to start my group with music. I'll oftentimes I've got blues music going in the background, and the reason I have that going on is because that reminds me of my father, right? Blues music, and so I'll have some music playing. We'll go around. I'll ask the dads an icebreaker of what's a song or what is a style of music that reminds you of your childhood. And then for future groups after that, I'll try to play each person's genre during the beginning of the group. We're able to offer food. We go around and get sponsorships from different local food organizations in Missoula. And so we're able to offer food to the dads, which really builds connection and bonding, having supper together. So those are 3 things we start with. We want to create a welcoming presence for the dads, right? So as a facilitator, you set the mood. The mood that I like to set is one of relaxed and hanging out, and we're all going to have some fun together. So the moment they walk in the door, you are the welcoming presence. Your facilitator is the person that's going to set the mood, right? And then we want to create our group norms, right? So create a sense of ownership over the group. Give the dads ownership over the group. Like you're going to have your own group norms that you want to lay out. Oftentimes, I'll go through the group norms in terms of like, we're going to talk about confidentiality. We can't guarantee confidentiality because everybody goes out into their own world. I can tell you that me, as the facilitator, I will not talk about anything that happens in our group tonight to anybody else. So I can promise confidentiality on my part. As a group, can we say what is said here stays here? Oftentimes they agree. Hopefully that actually happens. So I'll talk about confidentiality, other group norms. I'll say, please don't be late for the group. You're allowed to miss one session, but no more if you're working to get a certificate. So different things like that. Also, as a side note, what we have found about running this dads group is the court system loves the dads group, absolutely loves it. We get lots of dads that are court ordered to come and be part of the group. We try to make it a mix, so dads that are not court ordered as well as dads that are court ordered, because that shared experience is really cool. They really learn from each other on both ends of the spectrum. When you've got the highly successful, whatever dad that is in the group that is struggling with being a parent, and the father who maybe hasn't seen his kid in 2 years and is hoping to get an opportunity to get to see his kids again, right? There's a lot of growth and learning that can happen between those two ends of the spectrum. So let's see, the voices. We try to open up with an icebreaker to connect to the fathers. I want to get everybody's voice out early on in the session because it kind of like breaks the seal, right? Helps the dads to start talking and to feel like they can engage as part of the group. Linking is the idea of as group members are sharing. So as Christina shares something about her experience, I'm going to link what she said to, oh, that's like something Sasha said earlier, right? So I'm going to link the two dynamics so that I'm building bonds and relationships among my group members, right? And then we have this unconditional positive regard and accepting dads as they show up with radical acceptance, respect, and interest, right? I want to know all about it. And I'm going to believe all the things that you're telling me, right? So I will really want to understand. So this is the ways of being and the ways that we are working with fathers to try to build these relationships and to develop this group. The main psychoeducation that we provide in the group is this thing called the parenting influence model, which can be found in How to Talk So Parents Will Listen and Listen So Parents Will Talk by Doctors John and Rita Summers Flanagan. And I'd be happy, I've put that on my resource list. I'm also happy to talk with you more about it. I do want to say that our fathers group, our Dads and Dialogues group, is, maybe about 30 minutes of the group is psychoeducation, where we talk a little bit about the influence model and different parts. And then the other hour is shared experience, right? We use psychoed as a launching board so that parents can share about what's going on with them and in their own lives, right? To get the conversations flowing. So what the parent influence model is we talk about direct power, indirect power, problem solving power, and relationship power. So it's all about these different power dynamics. And so just to give you an idea of what this is direct power, and the reason it's in this pyramid like this is because direct power is something that we want to use the least bit of, right? Because it's that idea of rules without relationship equals rebellion, right? So we want to teach the parents that there are times when you need to use direct power in your family, right? When you have to say, because I said so, whatever, that you have to do, when you empty the dishwasher, then you get to play, for 30 minutes on the Nintendo. Is Nintendo even a thing anymore? Whatever the gaming consoles are these days, right? So, so that's the idea of direct power. When you, then you, and you're implementing that power. But we want to use that sparingly as possible, right? The thing we want to use most is this idea of relationship power, building a strong relationship base with your child. Because the bigger your relationship base, the more the more your direct power will be effective and will be listened to and respected, right? And then there's indirect power, which is the idea of kind of modeling behavior when we do things when we show our children ways that we want them to behave in the real world by modeling that sort of behavior. That's indirect power. Indirect power also looks like telling your child when they're working on a puzzle, wow, you're the type of person that really strives to never give up type of thing, so helping their children to grow and expand through using this indirect relationship source, right? And then problem solving power. The idea of problem solving power is including your child. So problem solving power is usually for older children, but it's this idea of getting their input, getting their voice into the family, and having them be part of the problem solving process, whether it's about them figuring out what their consequence is going to be for maybe something they didn't do, for something that they got in trouble for, or maybe it's for helping set bedtime hours and things like that, and having them be part of the problem solving process, and building their ownership in the family. Some of the quotes from our dad's group, I wanted to share this with you all because I can sit here and tell you it's been a great group, but I think you needed to see it from the actual lens of the fathers. The things we have heard from them is it's so helpful to know that other dads are out there having a tough time too, right? Or this group helped put things into perspective. Or I loved the diversity of the group members and how open everybody was with their stories. We actually ran one group where we had a gay couple that was in there, two fathers that were both fathering, and it was interesting to learn about that dynamic and how those dads were working together, because then the dads not only got to hear from each other about their relationships with their spouses, but they got to see some of that spouse work in action in the moment in the group, which was pretty cool. I was pleasantly surprised at how willing the dads were to open up. I got a better understanding of power dynamics and how they can affect relationships with my children. This created a network of dads I'm getting to know that might be able to become long-term support group. One of the groups that we ran, a month later, the dads all met and had a picnic together out at the park, which was super cool to hear them connecting outside of the group. Improved my relationship with my husband. That was actually a quote from the dad, from the couple in the group, right? Just in general, made me feel connected and made me think about my identity as a father. My daughter loved coming and playing with other kids, so we were able to provide childcare for the dads that came to our group. We actually stopped doing that after a while because not enough fathers were taking advantage of it. Even though I would tell every mother that I worked with, hey, if you need a break, send your husband to our dad's group and we'll watch their kid. but enough parents didn't take advantage of that, so we ended up stop running it, and we didn't see a decrease in the amount of dads that we had participating in the group. Um, and this certificate meant more to me than my college diploma, right? That was such a powerful one. This dad was working with us, and by the end of the group, he was just in tears with the when we offer a certificate at the end that says they made it through the group, and it just meant so much to him. We had another father who reported that his daughter, after he was taking this other father was in the group, court ordered, and he reported that his daughter came in, saw the certificate on the fridge that he had gone through the group, and his daughter, in tears, went up and hugged her dad and said, "Dad, thank you so much for doing that group. It means to me that you really care about me." Right? It's like, ugh. So, so pretty powerful stuff. And I realize that we are running out of time here, and I want to give you a few minutes to be able to ask any questions that you may have, or thoughts that you're sharing, any thoughts that you may have. I was going to share with you the three good things, which is a positive psychology approach. I'm going to skip this stuff, the positive psychology stuff. I would love to talk to you more about the positive psychology angle and share with you more about that. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. My email is in the resource link. But also want to talk about, like, we got to change this image that fathers have, right, from the videos that I was showing you. And we got to do that through media representation, education and awareness, workplace policy and cultures, communities and social support, research and advocacy. And I just want to close out here by saying to you all, again, I am so grateful for the work that you are doing out there. The dads, the fathers in our communities need your support. And the fact that you are here showing up for this presentation, to me, shows your dedication, your willingness, and your love for families. And I just want to say thank you so much for being the type of people that really want to make a difference in your community and want to make a difference in the parents' lives that you serve. It's a big deal, and we're really grateful for you. So thank you, and thanks for having me. I'm happy to stay on for a minute to talk about anything that you may have questions about.
And again, thank you so much for coming. We will leave this on so you have a chance to chat with Dylan. And I'll follow up with a survey request and those resources. And then we'll get this up online soon. So Dylan, I'm going to turn it over to you to see if there's any other questions in chat or unmute.
Sounds good.
I just wanted to ask if you have any tips for. So I work for Head Start, and I'm wondering if you have any tips for us on increasing father engagement just in general.
Oh,
with
yeah.
the program.
Right. In bringing dads into the doors, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the things that we really found that really helped with the traffic, getting people in the door and helping us is is actually to it's like the hook, bait and switch, to engage their kids first, right? And to try to get so providing activities and programs that their kids are interested in and that we invite their dads to be part of, so it's like a father kid type of program that we're offering that would get the dads in the door, and that way we can start having like side conversations with the dad while the kid is coloring a picture or something like that. That's one way that we've done it. Another way that has worked really well for us is, like, so Halloween's coming, right? And doing some big kind of like we'll have different organizations within Missoula donate candy, and we'll do like a little Halloween fair where and we encourage the dads to be the ones that bring their kids, dress up with your kid. We'll do some social media stuff to try to advertise that and to really focus on the father-child experience and have the dads come in and lure them in with candy, and then have people there that can talk with the dads while the kids are visiting different stations. So we'd set up different stations and have the kids go around and do that. Those are some of the ways that have been really impactful for us for getting fathers in the door. We also do a parenting comedy night which yeah, so and it's been
Like
really
that.
fun. Yeah, it's been great. We get so we get local, we've done it two different ways. One is we've had parents submit like kind of like my story that I shared with all of you about our daughter doing the whole day down thing, so little quick 30-second snippets, and we would have parents come up and do this. But we've also had local comedians in Missoula. There's a comedy group in Missoula, and so we organize an entire parenting comedy night. Those comedians create material around parenting, and parents would come, and we actually use that as even a fundraiser as well. But that's been a great way to get dads in the door so that we can start to share about the different programming that we offer. I hope that's helpful, Sasha.
So again, thank you so much. There's a couple weeks of conferences coming up. So our next one is October 29th, and it's going to be an afternoon one, 2 to 3. So thank you again and hope to see you soon. Thank you, Dylan. We've really appreciated this.